For this Micro Wars, we're going to be placing Darth Vader and the Imperial Pilots against Princess Leia, Han Solo, and the Rebel forces in a scenario that we are calling Rescue the Plans. Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming in lovely Furulund, Sweden. For this episode of Micro Wars, we are going to be playing this first special scenario called Rescue the Plans. We've got this Micro Machines battle set up here on our 2-foot by 2-foot sand mat. A couple quick rules here that we're going to lay out here. You see in the middle, we have this X-Wing fighter, which was Luke Skywalker's ship, and it was shot down by Darth Vader and some of the Imperial Pilots and has crash landed here in the middle of the board. You can see here you have Luke Skywalker, who is unconscious in the middle, with R2D2 faithfully standing next to him. Now we're going to say this, that Darth Vader and his Imperial Pilots have landed over here in this corner. So there is Darth Vader and 5 additional Imperial Pilots, and they are trying to get now to Luke Skywalker to R2D2 because R2D2 is carrying, of course, the plans of the Death Star. Down here in the corner we have the Rebel forces that have also landed, led by Princess Leia, Han Solo, and we have 7 Rebel pilots or Rebel forces there, and they will be leading the charge also to try and recover Luke and R2D2. As with all the Micro Wars, we're going to be following the Star Wars Miniatures rules set. A couple things we're going to change though, however, is that instead of talking about squares in the grid game, we're going to be using centimeters. So these people will be moving in centimeters, so typically 6 or 12 if they move twice as fast. For this scenario though, we have a couple special rules. Luke Skywalker is unconscious after he crash landed with his X-Wing, and at the start of every turn we're going to roll a d20, and every round it's going to make it easier for him to wake up. But the first round, for example, he needs an 18 plus. The second round is 16 plus, the third round is 14 plus, 12 plus, 10 plus, and so on and so forth. In addition, if any of the Rebel forces are able to get to him and come into base contact with him, instead of using their attack action, they are able to roll on a d20, and any 10 plus will help wake up or revive Luke Skywalker, who can then join the fight. R2D2 will stay in place as long as Luke Skywalker is unconscious. Otherwise, either side is able to pick up R2D2 and move their normal movement with him, trying to get him off to the nearest board edge and out of the battle. Let's go ahead and give you a look at how deployment looks here. In the middle we have Luke Skywalker and R2D2 with his ship, but over here on this board edge we have Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, and then you have Darth Vader with 5 of those Imperial Pilots. Luke is about halfway in between. Over on this side now we have another X-Wing that landed there safely. We have Han Solo, we have Leia, and then we have another 7 Rebel fighters that will be trying to make their way in. Rolling for initiative now, the Rebels will be using the green dice, and the Empire will be using the blue. So it'll be a 7-4, the Rebels will begin. Alright, so the way that this works is we select 2 characters and we move them up one at a time and let them take an action. There's some pretty long range to Luke Skywalker at this point, so I'm going to have both Princess Leia and Han Solo try to run up a whole 12 centimeters. And this is their final position right there. Alright, let's run on over here now and have the Empire make their move. Let's start out with Darth Vader. And Vader has no distance attack, so he's going to try and move his 12 straight towards Luke and R2D2. Next we'll have this pilot go up 6. And let's see if we can get a shot off now on Han Solo or one of the other troopers. And it looks actually like he is going to actually have a line of sight all the way through here over to Han Solo. Princess Leia is underneath cover, so he's going to go ahead and shoot off at Han Solo there. Alright, we got an attack +3, a defense of 17, and that is going to be an 18. And with that, we drop Han Solo down to 70 hit points. And before we continue, I can go ahead and put some markers on the guys I've already activated so we know who we've activated and who we haven't. Back to the Rebels. Let's go ahead and take 2 of our troopers and move them over here so we can get a shot off on that guy that just shot us. Alright, activating him with his 6 centimeter move. We will mark him as activated and go ahead and try and get a shot off on that pilot over there. +5 against a defense of 14. And there's a critical miss. Alright, next guy we're going to move him also up his 6. We're not going to knock over a bunch of guys here. Move him up 6 as well. Shoot on the same guy. So from this guy over here to this pilot right here, once again, we need a 9. And there's a 7, so that is also a miss. Over to the Empire now. Let's go ahead and have this guy. We'll move him also 6 right over here. Let's see if he can get a shot off on Han Solo. Defense 17 plus 3. We need a 14. And it's a 9, that's a miss. I don't think the rest of the guys are going to be able to get over in line of sight, so we're going to go ahead and actually just move up the remaining guy behind Darth Vader, his 12. And that's where his blast position will be. Alright, let's head back down here to the Rebels. We're going to have a couple more of these guys. And it looks like we're going to have a good line of sight here, so we're actually going to move these guys up and try to take some shots off on those Imperial pilots. Alright, from this pilot right here over to that pilot, or excuse me, that trooper, we need to show a 9. 18! Yes, 10 points of damage and 10 hit points, so that guy is done. One more trooper is going to move up and try to do the same thing, except over onto this other guy over here. Also on a 9. And there's a 10, yes! So with that, the second Imperial pilot is now down, and we are moving over to the last Imperial pilots on the Empire side. I think we're going to have both of these guys just sprint their 12 and try to catch up to Darth Vader. And that's the end of their turn right there. If we pull back now, you can see they're getting closer now to the X-Wing and to Luke and to R2D2. We have 3 more Rebel guys here now, and they get to move now all at once and attack. All right, so it's these 3 Rebel troops right here, and here's the thing. Those guys are all going to have cover because of this tree line here, this bush here. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do actually is go ahead and try to just move them up. They're 12 inches, get up behind Han and Leia, and get some positioning for some good shots in the future. Let's go ahead and move them 12 centimeters each. And here's where we sit at the end of round 1. The Rebels are making their way up, advancing nicely. But over here on this side, the Imperial guys seem to be advancing even better here. It's the end of the first round, so we're going to have to go and roll for Luke Skywalker. On an 18 plus, he wakes up and is able to move. Otherwise, he stays in place. There's a 13. All right, that's the end of that turn. We have to go now and roll initiative for the next round. The Empire really needs this one. They might be able to pick up R2D2 if that's the case. So here we go, rolling for initiative. Blue for the Empire, green for the Rebels. And the Rebels now will get another turn. Fortunate for them. And one little rule for Leia that I forgot about, she has the commander rule. Any of the figurines within 6 finishing their move get an additional 2 centimeters. So those guys will actually be moving up a little bit there. Let's go ahead now and have Princess Leia make a move and take some shots. And on second thought, because they're so close, I'm going to have Leia and Han actually move their double movement here to try and get as close as possible to Luke and to R2D2. So let's move Princess Leia first. She gets her 12 centimeters, and that will bring her right up here. Han Solo also gets to move 12 centimeters, and that will bring him here. That is the end of their turn with initiative. Let's run over here now. Darth Vader's going to get him. All right, first off, we're going to have Vader move over his full 12, and that will bring him right over here, approximately in that position right there. That will be the end of his movement. He still cannot shoot, but we're going to have another one of these guys come over and move 6 and try to get a shot off on Han. Okay, here we go, moving up his 6 centimeters here, and he is going to get a shot off on Han Solo if I can get him to stand up. There we go. And Han Solo is going to have some cover behind that X-Wing, so he gets a +4 to his defense. All right, that brings Han Solo up to a defense of 21. I need an 18, and I got an 18. Unbelievable. 10 more points of damage, dropping Solo down to 60. 2 more Rebel troops now. These guys are ticked off. They're going to get back in the fight and try and pick out the same guy. Moving 6 to start with. And that will give him a clear shot right 9 there. To hit. And it's a 19, 10 damage. That guy is out. So we are now down to 2 more guys. Let's move this second guy over here and see if he has a shot off. And when we get down here real low and look, it seems as if we do, in fact, have a line of sight over onto that guy. Hitting on a 9. And there's a 20. That's double damage, so it doesn't matter anyway. He is out of the picture. So that means we have Darth Vader and we have one Imperial pilot left. Let's go ahead and move him now. 6 inches there, going to take a shot off onto Princess Leia. She has cover, so her defense of 15 is now up to 19. I need a 16 plus. And that's an 11, it's a miss. And the remaining Rebel forces, we're just going to sprint all these guys up into this area here. In case Darth Vader is able to pick up R2D2 and make a sprint for it, we're going to get some shots off on him. So let's go ahead and move them all up there 12 centimeters into the open ground. Alright, so here's the situation. We have got some guys moving up close. These guys are ready to shoot some firing off, and these guys are really close to picking up R2D2. End of that turn now. We need to go ahead and roll for Luke Skywalker. On a 16 plus, he's revived, and that is a 20. So Luke Skywalker is revived, and he's able now to make a move. So an incredibly fortuitous roll for the Luke Skywalker there with a natural 20. He's going to wake up, see Darth Vader, pick up R2D2, and begin to run off in this direction 12 centimeters. Alright, this is going to be the most important initiative roll here. If the Rebels get the initiative, we're going to assume that they're able to run off the board. The rest of them should not be able to catch them in time. Darth Vader has no distance weapons. We only have one pilot. So here we go. Let's roll this initiative. Green for the Rebels. And a 9 to a 7. And with that incredible roll, we will say that the Rebels now are able to successfully flee with Luke Skywalker, who's now awake after that amazing 20 roll. They take R2D2 with the secret Death Star plans, and they take off for this time. Darth Vader has once again lost the plans. Well, there you have it, folks. That is the conclusion of our first Micro Wars battle report. This is a lot of fun. It was a crazy little game here because Luke Skywalker was able to come out of consciousness there on an amazing 20 roll. Otherwise, I think it would have been pretty close. Darth Vader might have been able to pick up R2D2, and then there would have been trouble because he is such a strong character with 140 hit points and a potential of doing 3 or more attacks on his turn. So fortunately for the Rebels, they had some good initiative rolls. They were able to get in there, get Luke out of there, pick off enough of those Imperial pilots so that they weren't able really to cut down the Rebel forces. And the Rebels have been able to abscond with the plans of the Death Star for a future meeting, perhaps on another planet. Well, thank you for joining us here today for this battle report in our Micro Wars series. This has been Matthew from Grey Army Gaming for the future of gaming.
Ta-da!